Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Liverpool, Roma, who will join Real Madrid in the Champions League final? Could Roma once again pull off the miracle comeback, and how would Liverpool approach this game? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to briefly break down Roma against Liverpool. So Roma, Liverpool, who is going to Kiev to face Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final? It would all come down to this. Could Roma come from behind and win by 3 goals or more? We'd find out here. We got Roma in the red. We got Liverpool in the blue. Roma in a 4-3-3. They switched their formation up. They went Dzeko up front. On the flanks, they had El Shaarawy and Schick. And in midfield, they had Pellegrini, they had Nainggolan, and they had De Rossi. Liverpool 4-3-3, as you expected it to be. You had Firmino, you had Mane, you had Salah in midfield, you had Henderson, then you had Wijnaldum, and you had James Milner. What went right? What went wrong? Well, initially we saw the change in Roma's shape. What they went for in a 4-3-3 was to ensure that they could attack normally. There were no real surprises, no additional third defender. They didn't need that. They needed to score, so they played their optimum system. What happened here was that they kept the fullbacks deeper. Obviously, they got exploited in the flanks in the first leg. Definitely wanted to change that, so that was a key factor in the game. The fact that they went with Dzeko up front, and then they had 2 supporting cast, Schick more of a center forward, but he can play that disciplined role, and then El Shaarawy obviously looking to cut in. They were looking to get balls into Dzeko and obviously have him play those players in behind him, so that was pivotal. And what happens that Liverpool dropped off into a 4-5-1. What happened here was that they kept Salah and Mane very narrow, covering the half spaces, and then they had Firmino kind of tracking De Rossi in that sense. They didn't want De Rossi playing balls from deep, launching balls over the top for Dzeko to get into the game. So what they did is they kind of had Firmino tracking him and swarming him, and if any case he did press one of the center backs, he ensured that he was in a path that they couldn't get passes into De Rossi. So that was pivotal. Why they wanted to cover the center of the pitch? Well, they didn't want balls into Dzeko, because what Dzeko has done so great in this tournament, drop off, pick up the ball, and look to get these players in behind. They want to shut off that outlet, and what they want to do was force them to go out wide, force them to play passes into the fullbacks, force the fullbacks forward, and then opt to hit them on the counterattack. Obviously, you had Mane and Salah at times kind of push and cut off those lines, but for the most part, they wanted Kolarov forward. If Kolarov went forward, Florenzi stayed deep, and it was obviously a big gamble because you don't want Mane running at either, or Mane or Salah run at any of these two. However, that was what they went with. The key elements in what Roma did well in the opening half was the fact that Dzeko was trying to drift off and and kind of exploit the fullbacks. There was one play in the opening half where a long ball was played in. He held off Robertson, pushed towards goal, but because Robertson's pressure and persistence, he can only flash a cross shot through the box. There was another opportunity where he drifted over to this flank, ran at Arnold, pushed out, delivered a good cross into the box, but those lines were cleared. But you could see what Dzeko was trying to do, and that was obviously pivotal. However, Roma's plan to get a goal first obviously was derailed by the fact of Liverpool's pressing. It starts with simply Salah stepping to Kolarov, a marker stepping to Nainggolan. I think it was pretty much James Milner, turns and plays a pass into Firmino, and it sets off a counterattack. Firmino plays a great ball into Mane behind the defense. Firmino, what we need to really accept and realize that he's starting to get that Messias passing, in the sense where as that false number 9, the role that he plays, he's able to pick those passes and those outward runs going inwards to Mane and to Salah. It was a great pass, led to the opening goal there. Now you're thinking, now Roma have to come out. They have to find a way to get a goal. They eventually did get their goal, and to no surprise, the goal stems from what they wanted and what Liverpool wanted as well. And it was Florenzi getting forward and no one really picking him up. So he delivers a deep cross into the box. You get El Shaarawy. This is what Roma were trying to do, get their attackers to isolate the fullbacks, nods the ball across goal. Obviously, they didn't expect this to happen, but Lovren hits his clearance off of Milner and it goes in. When we look at the first half in general, obviously we know that Liverpool scored again. That stemmed from a 1v1 where, when we look at it, they're retreating into their shape. They're pushing back. They want to get players behind the ball. But what happens is that the ball is quickly transitioned to Robertson, who overlaps. We see Schick running back. He doesn't pick up the marker. We don't see anything there from him. He goes 1v1 with Florenzi, drives out wide, should get across into the box. He does. It's Mane who gets the shot off, but Alisson Becker makes a key save. But like we said, just little things that have really separated the fine margins in this tie and the both Champions League semifinal ties, and that was key. When we look at how Liverpool defended, like I said, they deserve a lot of credit. They didn't have to score that many goals. They just had to make sure that they didn't concede any. And when you look at it from a whole, they wanted to stifle balls into Dzeko. They pushed out wide. When the fullbacks pushed forward, they would come out and push them out. And what happens is that sometimes if they didn't and they stayed a bit higher because of the counterattacking threat that they wanted to pose, what would happen was that they'd have Milner or Wijnaldum push out wide just to ensure that the fullbacks didn't get enough of a threat in those wide areas. The second half kind of followed something of the same tempo and the same theme when we look at what Roma did well. We look at the opening stages, how Roma got back into the game via Dzeko's goal. It's just a simple ball played out to the left. El Shaarawy gets onto it. Arnold tries to attack it and he gets beat. He makes a mistake. El Shaarawy runs to a goal. Lovren doesn't pick him up. He cuts in, fires a shot on goal. Karius pushes away, but no one picks up Dzeko's, and he gets the rebound, and he fires his effort past the keeper. When we look at what Roma did well in the second half, well, one of the things that did change was their system. They took off Pellegrini. They moved to a 4-2-3-1, and what happened was that De Rossi sat deep with Nainggolan. That offered more protection so that Liverpool couldn't hit them on the counterattack, and that was pivotal. What happened there was that Schick moved up just behind Dzeko. They pushed El Shaarawy to the left as he was, and then Under went to the right. And now you're thinking, how did Liverpool really approach this game? They're sitting a bit deeper. They're trying to get Salah, who moved out to the left on the counterattack. And this is one of the problems we've had with Liverpool. As they're trying to sit deeper and kind of soak up pressure to ensure they don't concede, they become a bit one-dimensional. They're trying to get balls out to the flanks. They're trying to push Salah into those positions, but teams are ready to read it. They had coverage here in these center position roles, and the only thing that was different was that sometimes Nainggolan pushed out, but we'll get to that in a second. When we look at the chance that they had, now Firmino's not picking up De Rossi. De Rossi had two key involvements in the second half, one from deep where Liverpool's line was a bit high. He clips a super diagonal into the box for Under, who breaks free, but he can only get a piece of the ball and he doesn't put enough power on it to pass it past Karius. Another opportunity came from when Dzeko moved out to the left, picking up a loose ball, plays in the overlap to Kolarov. Kolarov breaks in. His cross into the box is pushed away by Karius. Then we have De Rossi picking another ball up, clipping a ball over for Dzeko, who's apparently offside, but he wasn't. He was able to turn. He fired a shot wide. What we also saw in that half was the sense that what happened was that when we had the two there, we had Nainggolan pushing out wide. No one was getting to him to get onto the ball. He found space to deliver crosses into the box. One of his crosses led to the controversial non-penalty call that saw Under fire the shot on goal that Arnold blocked with his hand. We saw the other opportunity where he delivered a near post cross into the box that Dzeko guided wide. But apart from that, Liverpool sat deep. Roma couldn't really make any game-changing changes. They brought on Gonalons for De Rossi. They brought on another youngster for El Shaarawy. But besides that, their change obviously helped out for a bit. De Rossi was able to influence the game. Nainggolan got crossed into the box. They continued to overload that left flank. Kolarov got forward. We didn't see much of Florenzi in the second half. And when you look at it, Liverpool kind of bided their time. They defended well. They made last-ditch tackles. Van Dijk was superb in the air once again. And when you look at it, sure, Nainggolan got that wonder strike that went in. Sure, Nainggolan scored a penalty in the last minute of the game. But when you look at this result, it is the first time Roma conceded a goal at home in the Champions League. It is Liverpool's first loss in the competition. But at the end of the day, when we look back at this tie and the other tie, individual mistakes that shouldn't be made at this level were made. You look at this game, the giveaway from Nainggolan, you look at the first leg, the decision that Di Francesco made. They were exploited with the three-man backline. They allowed Liverpool's front three to attack space in wide areas and in behind, and they were punished. And this was too big of a mountain to climb. Sure, they missed opportunities, but if you're gonna be a European champion, you shouldn't be putting yourself in these positions on a consistent basis, and that's what Roma did in the competition. Very good at home, not so great on the road, whereas Liverpool, although they lost here, it was a mature performance. They possibly could have got more if they needed to push men forward. However, that wasn't the case here. They played on the counterattack. They obviously had a few issues out wide, but at the end of the day, it's Liverpool facing Real Madrid in what should be a great Champions League final. But let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.